Former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, not to talk basketball this morning, to talk some politics. And nice to see you.
Wait a second. I don't know. I want to just take a minute to relish you wearing the tie. This is your big moment.
Thank you very much,
I think
Mr.
that's
Speaker.
pretty cool.
Thank you. Thank you. So do we.
We'll see if they win.
Very excited.
All right, moment over.
Yeah, moment over. There's another big contest this week, and Donald Trump, who has been having some problems in some of the polls with female voters, now telling Maureen Dowd that he takes back that unflattering photo that he retweeted of Heidi Cruz, saying, yeah, it was a mistake. If I had to do it again, I shouldn't have sent it. How significant is a change in position from Trump ahead of Wisconsin?
Well, I don't know what it does from Wisconsin, but it's healthy to see him admit that it was really a dumb thing to do and he shouldn't have done it. It's very unlike Trump, who doesn't like to back up. He doesn't like to apologize. So it tells you it's finally getting through to him that some of the stuff he's done didn't work, and that he needs to be more like a normal person, and when he blows something, admit you blew it. And in that case, he sure as heck did. My guess is that Cruz will win Wisconsin, but probably not win it decisively. That he will gain a lot of delegates, but Trump will gain some delegates. And then we'll go on to New York, where I think Trump will probably win decisively. He's ahead by more than 2-1. But it's important to remember, as all these people gather around talking about how Trump's in trouble, these are the same people who told you last June that he was a joke. They were the people who told you in December he would blow up eventually. The fact is, a very large part of the analytical world and the Washington establishment is terrified that Trump will, in fact, get the nomination. So every chance they get to make themselves feel better, they say things that may, in fact, not have anything to do with reality.
Well, all five of the candidates are out campaigning in Wisconsin ahead of the primary. Donald Trump, no exception to that. And he's saying that because he's getting the most votes, he thinks he's going to walk in with the most votes. He may not reach that 1237 magic number. And he says this whole delegate process is crooked as hell. Listen.
Now, the Republican Party, they view me as, you know, a guy. They don't want me because I don't want money. I don't want their money. I don't want the lobbyist money. I don't want all these people. They're going to be saying, like, you know, we can't get to Trump because it's a crooked system. We can't get to Trump. So I got all these people against me. That's why it's important that I win. I don't want to go in there looking at the second ballot because probably, you know, with the way the thing is, it's crooked as hell.
Do you have a problem with the process, too?
No, I don't have a problem with the process, but I think if you're Donald Trump, this has got to be a big shock. You know, Bernie Sanders yesterday won Clark County at a convention, even though Hillary Clinton had won Clark County, which is Las Vegas, in the primary. So he's probably going to end up getting more delegates out of the convention process than Hillary, even though she got more votes in the overall caucuses back when they first voted. This is a very tough process, and if you're somebody like Trump, you've never run before, you've never been through it, you find out that you go through box A, you win the primary. But by the way, the primary guarantees you a vote on the first ballot, doesn't guarantee you the delegates. Now you got to go back and build an organization just to find the delegates. And frankly, when he brought in Paul Manafort, I think it was a sign that he's beginning to realize how serious this is. Manafort led the winning side of the last contested convention in 1976. He really understands how to do conventions. And I think that was a sign that Trump is beginning to take seriously, that he can't just rely on media and on winning primaries. He actually has to go out and step by step win the delegate fight on the ground, which is a big, big challenge.
That's a smart point. Roger Stone was on the show earlier. He's a former Trump advisor, of course, and he has a theory about Ted Cruz and the establishment suddenly falling in love with Ted Cruz, but they might abandon him. Listen to this. I want to get your take on Roger's thoughts.
Because of his personality, not so much of his policies, I don't think the Bush, Romney, Rubio, RNC establishment's too crazy about Ted Cruz. So they're using him to try to stop Donald Trump on the first ballot in the hopes that they can dump him on a subsequent ballot and probably nominate John Kasich. If it's not Trump on the first, I think it'll be Kasich on the fourth.
What do you buy? Do you buy that?
Well, look, I think there was an email that went out this morning that I read from an insider who basically said, you know, what if Trump fails in the first ballot and then Cruz fails in the second and third ballot? It could be Kasich, or this particular person's favorite is Paul Ryan. You know, anything is possible. It is clear that Cruz is walking a real tightrope because he was really originally the insurgent candidate, remember? If Donald Trump weren't around, Cruz would be the guy who's getting all the votes of the people who are anti-Washington. Now he's campaigning with Scott Walker. He's beginning to resemble Marco Rubio, who kept getting governors to endorse him while he lost their states. And Cruz has got to play a real balancing act here with Jeb Bush and Mitt Romney and others endorsing him. At what point does he begin to be the establishment candidate, which in this particular year is really devastatingly bad for you if it ever sinks in?
Right. And Speaker Gingrich, on the other side right now, we're seeing the Clinton team really needling Bernie Sanders, saying, hey, Hillary wants to debate. Why don't you come and debate us here in New York? So they're thinking ahead of Wisconsin. They must think that she's going to do really well there. And they want to duke it out in New York State, the site of the next contest. But for Hillary Clinton to be calling for more debates, if she was really such a strong frontrunner or thought that she was going to do really well racking up delegates for the next couple months, would she be wanting to expose herself to attacks on a stage from her primary rival right now, Bernie Sanders?
Well, no, and it tells you that she knows she's losing ground. She's going to lose Wisconsin, I think, by a big margin. She's behind by 5 or 6 points in the polls, but the polls have consistently underestimated the intensity of Sanders' turnout. In places like Madison, it is going to be just enormous. And he is going to beat her by huge margins among young people in a state that has a big university system. I think that she's going to then be faced with going into New York. She's losing some ground in Nevada, as I said a minute ago. I mean, she's eroding at the margins in ways that are very dangerous if you are the front runner. And it's almost an act of desperation to say, why don't you come debate me? And guess what? My hunch is that Bernie Sanders is presently going to go debate her, and that's going to take away that issue. So she should win New York. If she loses New York, it's catastrophic. Yeah. She has to win New York just to stay.
2 terms.
Yeah.
2 terms.
Yeah. What kind of a psychological blow would that be? I mean, how significant, aside from the delegates, I mean, and momentum and all that, I mean, just psychologically for the campaign and heading into a general election if she's the nominee?
Look, remember what happened to Rubio when he lost Florida. He did the right thing that night. He dropped out. He said it's hopeless. John Kasich had said if he'd lost Ohio, he would drop out. She's not going to drop out. But if she loses New York, she won't be the nominee. I mean, she has to win New York. This is an absolute moment of survival for her.
Unbelievable. Mr. Speaker, always great to see you here on the show.
Good
Thanks
to see
for your
you.
analysis.
Have a great day.